What's going on, everybody? Josh here. Welcome back to the third annual JGoebs channel review and statistics video. For those of you who are new here, I like to do this style of video once at the beginning of every year where we look back on the channel and the previous year it just had and go over statistics and see how well the channel performed, as well as see how well it adds up or compares to the previous years that I've been doing this. This was my third full year of doing content creation, and every year I feel like I've gotten better at this. Even though the statistics might not reflect that, I feel like my editing got a lot better this year. I felt like my thumbnails definitely got a lot better this year, but there's also areas for improvement still. I feel like I need to continue to work on laying out my videos better. My titles definitely need some work. So, you know, there's improvements to be made, but I'm also happy with where I've improved this year. But we'll go more in depth on that throughout this video. At the end of this, I'm going to put a timestamp for this so those of you who are just here for the highlights can go to it. But at the end of this little presentation I've put together for the channel, I'm going to have some of my favorite channel clips from this year in just a brief sewn together montage. So those of you who want to just go straight to the channel clips, that there will be a timestamp in the description for that. But let's get into it. We're just going to review real quick channel statistics and then go over what my hopes are for 2025, because there are some changes coming to this channel in 2025. I'm going to mix things up a little bit. So if you want to see where that's all heading, then stay tuned. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So this isn't what all I'm going to be talking about in this, but these are just some of my general thoughts when I think of 2024 in general for the channel. The first one, that we had a very slow start to the year, like very slow. I don't know what it is, but for some reason the algorithm, and I know this isn't like the only channel to have this problem, but the channel will just pick up momentum in the fall and winter. Views and everything will just go up, and then January it'll just fall off a cliff, and then it'll just kind of stagnate through the spring and then start to pick up again in the fall. It's really weird. So in last year's channel review video, I was kind of worried about that. Like, why did everything just fall off from the huge momentum we had at the end of 2021? And why is it, or I guess 2022, and why did it fall off and go stagnant? But now, after a third year of doing this, I understand that I think that's just an algorithm thing. Because I try to put out some of my best work early in a calendar year, but it just can't get any traction. And I think that's just an algorithm thing. Which leads me to the second point. The channel picks up momentum in the final months. I just talked about it. 2023 might have been a fluke year just for how well that year was, besides December. But I have charts to go over for this. So I'm not going to try to explain that now. I have graphs for that. Let's Plays continue to struggle in the algorithm, which was expected. I've talked about this every year that I've done this. The YouTube meta, I guess, has moved in all sorts of directions over the years. Like, there was the animated phase, which was when I was fairly young. Like, this was a long time ago. Then it went to skits. Skits were really popular. That was like during the Smosh and Fred and yeah, just channels like them days. And then it went hard into gaming, and Let's Plays were everywhere on YouTube. That was the thing, was Let's Plays. And that was about, I want to say like 2015 through 2017 was the Let's Play prime on YouTube. And the algorithms moved away from that So today, the algorithm is very much in high production value, scripted video essay type content. And it's also really favoring towards like oversaturated thumbnails. Really, everybody's talking really loud, flashy edits everywhere, just Mr. Beast style videos. It's been referred to as the Mr. Beastification of YouTube. And personally, I think it's ruined YouTube. But those are the styles of videos that YouTube favors these days. And YouTube's ever changing, so I assume one of these years it'll move on for that, hopefully. Because God, it's exhausting. It really is. I can't stand that kind of content. I also want to point out, just for this slideshow, this isn't scripted. I'm just winging this as I go. I just want it to feel more genuine, you know, just like us having an actual discussion. And feel free to let me know your thoughts on anything down below. Those of you who have been around this channel a while know I always try to respond to every comment that I can. So if you have thoughts on any of this, just let me know. And the last point that I think about this channel is that it kind of plays into the last 2 points, but the channel tends to follow a trend on a monthly basis, like compared to the other 2 years. And we'll go over that with the graphs that I've put together. But so let's go over some notable statistics. So this year we had, and when I say this year, I mean 2024. So in 2024, we had 10,284 total views, down 61% from last year's 26,970 views. We had 1,313.9 hours watched, down 36% from last year's 2,061. 65 new subs this year, down 60% from last year's 163. 73 live streams this year, which is up 62% from the 45 in 2023. And if you guys watched the channel statistics video last year, I said that one of my resolutions was wanting to live stream more. So I'm happy that I did that. I'm really happy with the number of live streams that I did. And this is the only stat that isn't like influenced by the algorithm, but I'm still happy for it. And I wanted to throw it in there just to show that, hey, I live streamed 28 more times than I did in 2023. And then we have 369,832 impressions, which is down 60.5% from last year's 936,000. I was really, really hoping we could hit the million this year, hit the 1 million impressions this year. I felt like that would have been a huge accomplishment for the channel. We had 304 likes and 40 comments also this year. I don't know if that's up or down from last year's. And I couldn't figure out how many shares the channel had. So, yeah, I don't know how many people actually shared my content or if it was up or down compared to last year. So one thing that I find interesting about this is how everything is kind of tied to the impressions as I see it. So impressions were down 60%, and also down 60% were subscribers and views. So like they're all tied together. Like obviously if you're not getting impressions, you're not getting views. And if you're not getting views, you're not getting subs. That's kind of the order that I see it. So impressions being down brings down subs and views in the same, I guess, percentage. They're all pretty much the same. But what's interesting is that watch time only went down 36%. So I feel like there's multiple ways you can interpret that. The way I see it is that a large portion of my watch time comes from my regulars on the channel, those who participate in the live streams, those who watch my edited playthroughs. I feel like they make up the majority of my watch time compared to the new viewers who tune in for one or two streams or episodes and then leave and never come back. So but they still make up a percentage of the views and the watch time, which is why it still went down, but not down 60% as like the other statistics. And again, there's so many ways you can look at that, but the way I see it is that I didn't do a good job this year of making content that made people want to stick around. I made content that my regulars enjoyed, but I didn't make content that somebody new to the channel decided to stick around and watch more of. That's how I see it. That it's still 36% down, but that's because my regulars make up most of the watch time, and I didn't do enough to get new viewers to stay. That's how I look at this. So there's some good to this, but there's also some bad to this. And that's something I got to work on. I got to work on making just overall better content for everybody, really. Because seeing all this red, seeing how everything went down compared to 23, it sucks. It really does. But, you know, it's easy to know what you need to improve on when you actually look at the numbers like this. And again, I don't know where likes and comments stand up compared to last year, but I'm just going to assume that they're down also compared to last year. So here's the first two graphs I want to go over, and this is total monthly views and total watch time. And you can see the relation that they have with one another. They both are fairly flat in the early year and spring months, and then they pick up momentum in the summer and really climb in the fall. And you would expect these two to be tied together. Obviously, if you're getting more views, that means you got more watch time. Like if everybody watches, let's just assume the average watch time was a minute. If you have 100 views, that's 100 minutes of watch time. Whereas if you have 10 views, that's 10 minutes. So obviously they're going to be correlated on that. So saying that, oh, wow, look at how these two are related, that's got to be something, right? Like obviously they're correlated. You can't have one without the other. Like if one goes up, the other will most likely have gone up with it. Unless all of my dead subs who are just subbed to the channel but don't watch anything just magically came back and started watching a bunch of content, even though views didn't really change at all. That's the only reason those two wouldn't be linked together. But in this case, for the channel in 2024, the watch time for hours was tied to the number of views, which is no shit Sherlock statistic. But I want to call attention to the early spring, late winter numbers, because you can see they're both fairly low. Like I said, this channel got off to a really slow start in the early year, under 50 hours of watch time. It was not great. But in June, July, and August, when it was still low in watch time, the views were starting to climb. And that is not a good thing. That means more people are finding the channel, but the watch time is staying the same. So the difference, I guess, in the early summer months compared to the spring months, the difference in viewers is not making a difference on the watch time in these months. So people are just clicking on a video and then clicking off in a few seconds. That's what it is. That's what it tells me. And that's something I've really got to work on. One thing that I've learned this year is just how important the first 30 seconds of a video are. If you can keep people around for the first 30 seconds of the video, they're more likely to stick around and watch a much higher percentage of the video than the people who click off after a few seconds, which sounds obvious, but you've got to get them to stick around. If they'll watch over 30 seconds, they're most likely to continue watching the video beyond that. But if they're not watching the first 30 seconds, they're most likely to click off after the first 30 seconds are over. It's confusing to say, but the point being the first 30 seconds are important. And that's something I got to improve on for this upcoming year. How can I make the beginning of the video more captivating to keep these viewers in? And we'll see, it just kept climbing in the summer. We had a dip in October, but overall the trend was up starting in June. And it just kept climbing. But the watch time didn't increase until October. So views started in June, but watch time didn't improve until October. So that's what, 5 months? Yeah, that's 4 or 5 months of just improving views, but not being able to take advantage of it. And that bothers me. That really does. But then come October, November, and December, the watch time really started going up. And the reason for that is because that's when I started playing more Fire Emblem on the channel. I did not expect Fire Emblem to take off the way that it did this year. It came back with the randomizer, and the randomizer started doing really well. And I thought, you know what? I'll play a Crimson Flower Maddening run. The playthrough that's on the channel right now that's doing decently well. Yeah, so Fire Emblem for some reason took off with this channel in the algorithm. I don't know why, but I'm happy for it. And it's apparently what people like to watch here on the channel. Obviously, if that's how you look at it, like what happened in October, November, and December compared to the other months that caused this change. Well, it's Fire Emblem. I didn't know I had that big of a Fire Emblem presence on the channel. I know we picked up quite a bit of momentum when we did the Silver Snow playthrough last year, but I didn't think this was very much a Fire Emblem channel because a lot of this channel's momentum was built off of Splatoon and Super Mario Odyssey last year, and couple that with the fact that Fire Emblem Engage did really bad on this channel. Engage did not perform well, so I thought, oh, it's just a lot of Mario and Splatoon viewership. But you look at this, like I was playing Splatoon most of the year, and then Fire Emblem comes in and everything starts going up. So that's something I need to really think about, is like what kind of content people respond well to. And looking at this, it's Fire Emblem, but also at the same time, it does follow the trend of previous years of slow winter, spring, and early summers, but starting to pick up there and having a really good fall and winter. Like that's how it's done the previous 2 years. Now, this time last year, I wasn't playing Fire Emblem. I was playing Odyssey. So Odyssey was the reason for the high jump, but we'll get to those tables in a little bit. But point being, I don't think it's so much the game that I'm playing so much as the time of the year. I think there's factors for both of those that play into this. Let's continue on, shall we? So next up we have click-through rate % and total impressions. So, if you go back to, this slide, how everything picks up in the fall and winter, it's kind of doing the same here for impressions, which makes sense. But unfortunately, we got impressions click-through rate. This is something I really wanted to improve on from last year. And I wanted to keep it above 2% all year. I told myself if I could get it above 2%, that means I've made the improvements in thumbnails and titles that I wanted to. And for the first half of the year, it did. It was sitting above 2%, which for a Let's Play channel is pretty decent. It's not bad and it's not exceptional, but it's decent. It's a decent percentage to have. But then as the impressions picked up, click-through rate dropped. So my videos are being shown to a wider audience, but that wider audience wasn't in the niche of content that I was making. That's why you see that click-through rate drop. And I said at the beginning of this that I want to improve my titles for this year because I'm happy with where my thumbnails are at. I like my thumbnails. I think they do their job well. But titles got to get better. That's something I need to work on. And I think if I can work on my titles for this year, I can improve click-through rate percent. And I'm not going to clickbait. Like, I don't clickbait. It's stupid and it just tanks your average watch time. Because watch time is what the YouTube algorithm cares about most. So if people are clicking on your videos realizing it's clickbait, then immediately click off, then that's going to hurt your channel in the algorithm. So watch time is the biggest factor to work on for me this year, or for any content creator, really. But in order to get watch time, you got to get impressions, because you absolutely can judge a book by its cover. I don't know where that saying you can't judge a book by its cover comes from, because it's absolutely not true. You 100% can. And that's something I got to work on. But moving on, we have percentage viewed and new subs. So, percentage viewed we'll get to in a little bit. I have a deeper dive into that in another slide coming up, so I'm not going to worry about that too much, but I will say that I'm happy with the improvement that average percentage viewed went up, but it still has a long ways to go. And like I said, it comes down to me making better content, not just for my regulars, but also for the new people who show up to the channel for the first time and are evaluating it, I guess, is a channel that they might want to stick around with. The main graph here I want to go over is new subs. As I said, subs were down by 60% this year, and we didn't reach nearly the peaks that we had last year. And again, I have graphs to compare it to previous years, so I won't go too much in depth on that. The main thing I want to point out is that for the first time in this channel's history, we had a negative growth month in April. We finished the month with -2 subscribers gained, which was wild to me. I don't know how else to put it. It was very discouraging to me, and I don't know why or what was going on in April, but it is what it is. And that was the first wake-up call to me that I gotta start looking for ways to make improvements, which is what you're gonna see here in 2025. It's just been a lot of planning. And January, we also, for the first time in over a year, we had a 0 subscriber month in January. And I imagine that this year in 2025 is going to be a similar trend to April or to January through April, where it's just going to be really slow, but pick up again in the fall and winter. But again, we'll go over that a little bit more later. And by later, I mean right now. So what I did is I took all of the data that I've gathered for 2022, 23, and 24, and I put them all into one graph for various topics. So that way I can see just how well every year did compared to each other. And the first one we're going to start with is total monthly views. So you got white, which is 2022, yellow is last year, 2023, and green is this year, 2024. And you'll see here, 2022, it was just flat, maybe 100 views a month, and then it really picked up steam in the fall. And then come December 2022, I was like, oh, okay, yes, the algorithm has been picking up my channel. The channel is gaining momentum. Let's carry this into 2023. And in 2023, and it falls off a little bit, but not bad. And it holds steady through the spring and summer months. And it wasn't really going anywhere, but then it picked up steam again in the fall. But in the winter, instead of continuing that upward trend, it fell off hard. And I don't know what happened in these months and why the trend didn't continue, but it fell off hard at the end of 2023. And that set the trend for 2024, where it just flatlined in the winter and spring. And it picked up a little bit in the summer. But the weird thing about it is how like steady it was. Like it didn't have the big upswing that 2022 had or that 2023 had. With these trends up, it didn't have that. It just kind of remained steady. So that's what I'm interested to see what it does in 2025. If it's just going to continue being flatlined or if it's going to drop off like it's done over the past 3 years or what. But right now, with the channel's not off to a good January, so I imagine it's going to drop off to down to these 2 levels. I imagine, but you never know, I guess. But yeah, the interesting trends here and how 2024 was just weird how steady it was. And I don't know what to make of that. I really don't. I have some thoughts that contribute to all of this, but I'll go over those in a minute. The next thing I want to look at is subscribers gained. And it falls into a similar trend. You have 2022, it's kind of steady. This is one sub, nothing. And then it picks up momentum in the fall and winter. And then it maintained that in 2023 in January, despite the views falling off. The subs stayed high, but then it fell off in February. And then it just slowly picked up its momentum, held steady. And then we had our first ever 1 sub per day month. And then it fell off in the winter. And it set the trend for 2024. We had a 0. We had a 3. We had a 6. We had -2. We had a 2. And then it picked up in the summer and then just kind of held steady. And we didn't have that upward trend. And I think the lack of the upward trend in the fall and winter months is the reason why we saw that 60% decrease. I think if it had its winter trend, it still would have been less than 23 just because of the incredible summer that the channel had last year. But it would have been such a lower decrease. But for some reason, nothing could take off in the fall or winter. And again, I have a theory for that, but we'll get into that in a minute. The third graph comparing them all is total monthly impressions. And again, follows the same trend. Slow spring and winter for both of them. They pick up in the fall and winter, and they fall off. And we kind of saw the trend come back here for the channel. But again, it picked up in the summer, and then it just held steady. It was really weird. I keep saying the same thing over and over, but when you put it all together like this and you can see the numbers, how they all compare to one another, it really just makes you think. And the last chart I want to go over is click-through rate percent. And this is a fascinating one to me. Because I said at the end of 2023, I wanted to improve on click-through rate. I wanted to maintain upon what we built at the end of last year. And we did. In fact, we improved every single month for the most part, except the fall and winter months and the late winter. I mean, January, we basically tied last year's. We underperformed in February, but still over 2.5% is pretty solid. And then for the spring and summer months, we outperformed the other years, except August. We tied 2023, but we underperformed in 2022. And then it flatlined still. Again, it just flatlined everywhere while everything else trended upward. And again, the click-through rate is always going to be tied. They're always going to be correlated with your views and your subs. Because they're all tied together. You can't have more views and subs without more impressions. It just doesn't happen. Unless your click-through rate just shoots through the roof. But that just isn't realistic. So it flatlined. It went down and flatlined, which is upsetting, but it gives me something to work towards in 2025. I want to keep click-through rate above 2% for all year this year. But it's interesting to see that I was able to improve click-through rate, and I think this came through my thumbnails. But the lack of proper titles really hurt me. So this is the big thing for me. One thing I also wanted to improve on was watch time and percentage viewed. And if you would look at, last year's stats, like, man, 2023 just whooped my ass and everything this year. But if we go to watch time and percentage viewed, we're actually up in both of these from 2023. We improved average watch time by over 3 minutes and percentage viewed by 1.4%, which is great because these two are the biggest categories for improving a channel in the algorithm. But for some reason, despite improving this, we didn't get more impressions. I mean, we overperformed 2023 in the November and December, the late fall, early winter months. But through the rest of the year, we didn't. But improving these was huge for me. I'm very happy to see that these went up. They didn't improve compared to 2022, but to be fair, in 2022 was when I had all of my regular Splatoon viewers showing up to everything, and they were watching a lot of my first ever playthrough of Splatoon. And once that novelty kind of wore off, then they disappeared, and I haven't seen them since. God, it's been 2 years since I've seen some of those guys, which is crazy. But that explains the down trend in a way in 2023, besides the content not really improving by a whole lot. But in 2024, it did. And I'm very happy for that. And I hope we can continue to build upon that in 2025. Which leads me to my biggest question of the year. Can the momentum from these last few months carry over to 2025? And the answer is probably no, just because January and February are statistically my worst months in the algorithm. And I think that's true for most channels on YouTube. And I don't know why. And I just got to accept that's just how it is. But I got to keep grinding. I got to stay on that grind. Keep working hard, So now I want to touch on the playthroughs. These are all the games that we played here on the channel this year. In no order. These aren't ranked. These aren't in the order they were played, but we had a Space for the Unbound, which was my favorite playthrough this year, hands down. We had Persona 3 Reload, which was probably the most disappointing playthrough of the year, just how badly it performed. We had Ape Escape, Simpsons Hit and Run, Sonic Adventure 2, Kaizo Emerald, and then Fire Emblem Crimson Flower Maddening mode, which we're still working on, by the way. And this is where I wanted to talk about why 2024 underperformed 2023. Because in 2023, we had some big games on the channel. Games like Super Mario Odyssey, We had some pretty popular games on the channel that really took off in the algorithm for us and really brought in those views and that watch time. But if you look at this 2024 lineup, we didn't really have any like big popular games. Like nothing was really trendy. So that's where I think a lot of the channel struggles came from, is not playing very popular games. Which is on me, but these are games that I wanted to play this year, so I did. And that's how it's going to continue to be. But I want to try to throw in some more popular games, something to get the algorithm's attention. Which brings me to the next slide of games that I hope to play in 2025. Right now, there's two of them that I'm going to talk about right now. That's Until Then and Metal Gear Rising. I've never played any of these games before. I just have only heard incredible things about them. I know Metal Gear through all of the many memes that have come through this, so I know I'd have a blast playing that game. And Until Then was reviewed very well, and it popped up in my recommend because I liked A Space for the Unbound, and I'm a sucker for a good story game. So right now, there are other games I plan on playing this year, but it's just these two that I want to talk about right now. And I'll get to why I'm not talking about the other games I want to play on the channel, just because we have some format changes coming to the channel. We're going to be doing things a little differently this year. So, like I said in the beginning, stay tuned to that. So yeah, there's many more games that I want to play that are to be announced as I figure out how I want to approach them. So yeah, let's go to my goals for this year. I want to start live streaming 3 times a week now. My goal for last year was to stream twice a week, and we did that with Flying Colors on Fridays and Saturdays. Those worked out really well for me. I'm going to continue doing those. But whatever the third day of the week is that I stream, that is going to fluctuate just, because I work 40 hours a week and my schedules aren't consistent with work. They kind of change. So whenever I have a good third day to stream, whenever I have a free day, I will plan on streaming. Which brings me to my next point, that scripted content is going to be more abundant this year, and it's going to take a heavier focus on the channel. The only real scripted videos I did in 24 were the Space for the Unbound videos, and I was very happy with those, despite them not doing well in the algorithm. But the scripted videos are very rewarding for me to make. They do take a while to make, just because I have to gather the clips, I have to edit the clips together, and I have to write a script and do voiceover and then edit all those together. So the videos take longer to make, but I feel like I make much better quality content through them. My third goal for the channel is to hit 400 subs. I think this is totally doable, even though we only did 65 subs this last year, and we need 86 subs to hit 400 this year, so we definitely need to step it up. But I think it's totally possible. I need to, as long as I can continue focusing on making better titles for the videos and better opening segments for each video, I think this is going to be totally possible. But that leads me into my fourth point: improve channel click-through rate percent and watch time. If I can improve watch time to what it was in 2023, I think 400 subs is going to come super easily. Like, I think we hit it by the fall if I can do that. But it all comes down to me making better content. And I understand that. It's not going... No content creator can ever say that their shortcomings on the channel are because their viewers aren't watching enough content. Like, it's not, you can't ever put it on the viewer. It's always on the content creator. You can't say, well, people just aren't watching my videos as much as they should, or, well, if people would just tune into my videos longer and give it a chance, they'd understand, and then they would start subscribing more. It's not me, it's them kind of thing. That's so wrong. It's incredibly inaccurate. It always comes down to the content creator. If your channel click-through rate and watch time is down, it's because of you, the creator, not the audience. The people are going to watch what they want to watch. And if you can make content that they want to watch, guess what? They're going to watch it. And the reason why people aren't watching my content as much as they did in 2023 is because I'm not making the content that they wanted to see, like in 2023. It's because my videos aren't the same as they were in 2023. And it's not what my regulars want to watch as much. It's not what the new incoming viewers want to watch as much. And it all comes down to me and the content that I'm making. So if I want that to improve, it starts with me. It starts with me making better videos. And I think I can really work on that through my scripted videos and continuing to improve upon how I structure everything. Which leads me to my final goal for 2025. I want to do 12 scripted videos this year. I don't want to hold myself to one scripted video per month just because I'm worried about overwhelming myself with all the other plans that I have for the channel this year, but I think 12 is going to be perfectly manageable. And I guess I'll take this opportunity now to talk about what like the scripted videos means. Like, go watch, if you haven't, my Space for the Unbound videos if you want to have an idea of what I'm talking about, where I play a game on the channel and then I summarize the playthrough by writing a script for it and taking clips and throwing that all together in the editing blender and making a scripted summary video on my playthrough for people who don't want to tune into live streams and watch an entire playthrough that way, but want to know what my journey was like in a game. That's what my scripted videos will be for the most part. Now, I also want to do scripted videos in a sense where I just talk about a random topic. Like, I write a script going over my thoughts on like a game that came out, like do a game review kind of thing, or talk about like the state of gaming or an opinion that I have that I'm passionate about that I just want to talk about with like gameplay background kind of thing. Those will also be here this year. I don't know how often, but I have a really nice list of scripted content that I want to make this year, of video topics, I mean. And it's just going to be finding time to make those in addition to streaming 3 times a week. You know what I mean? So and there's also like more college video stuff that I want to make, since my video on my Central Washington days continues to be a top 5 video on the channel. And to this day, it still gets decent views every year. And I want to talk more about that because I feel like I have a lot of opinions on like college stuff to talk about, but I don't count those towards the 12. The 12 that I want to do this year are going to be gaming related. So if I do any more like Central Washington videos, I'm not going to count that towards my 12. So don't worry about that. I want to do 12 scripted gaming videos a year. And before we go any further on this, I want to talk about updates for current playthroughs. And by current playthroughs, I mean the Crimson Flower maddening mode playthrough. So that playthrough is going to continue as normal. I'm going to continue taking the live streams of that game, editing them down into summaries of the streams, non-scripted summaries of the streams. There's just the clips, a too long didn't watch thing for my live streams, right? And that's what is going to continue to be for this playthrough. That's how it's going to go, just because it's working for the channel right now, but it also buys me time to work on my first scripted video of the year, as well as get a start on the other scripted videos that I want to make. It just gives me a nice running start without feeling that pressure, because I don't want to put any pressure on myself. That's why I want to hold myself to 12 on the year instead of 1 a month. That just gives me more flexibility and takes a lot of stress off of me. And it will continue to be posted on Fridays. And I also would like to continue making videos like what I'm doing for Crimson Flower, like what I've been doing for most of the playthroughs this year. Just keep a Friday upload of stream summaries, but then also work on the scripted videos on the side. That's what I would like to do this year. So those of you who like my summary videos for the streams that we've been doing all year, those aren't really going to be going anywhere, but you're going to see a lot more scripted videos appearing on the channel. And as far as like what days of the week those will be posted, I don't know. Again, I'm just going to hold myself to posting a scripted video when the video's ready. I'm not going to hold myself to any deadline on them. Just do 12 per year. And when I think the video is at a good quality and ready to be released, I'm going to release it. So that way I can also improve on, hopefully, watch time and click-through rate. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that these videos that I make and that I put all this effort into are getting released when they're ready and when I think they're ready. And with that being said, I have a very special announcement. I'm not going to go over all of the new series that I'm planning, especially with the scripted stuff and like what I'm planning. I was very vague about it for a reason. But there's one thing I want to announce to you all, and that is that A Taste of Nostalgia is going to be returning to the channel. And those of you who have been around the channel since my early 2022 days, you guys are going to know about this series. But for those of you who don't know about Taste of Nostalgia, it's where I play an older game that was a part of my childhood, and I do a scripted video on it about what the game means to me, as well as summarizing the playthrough that I had with it. But the Taste of Nostalgia format is going to be changing a little bit. And what I mean by that is it's going to be focusing on older games, regardless of how much experience I have on them. Because that way it appeals to a wider audience and it's easier for me to find older games to play. Just because my library of games growing up wasn't very big. So that didn't leave me with very much games to play here on the channel. Some of these, so the way I did the old Taste of Nostalgia videos is they were worked on the side. I did not stream them because I wasn't streaming at the time. They were just recorded on the side and then worked on. That is going to be the case for some of these games, but other games will be live streamed on the channel, and then I'll take those live streams and make a nostalgia video out of them, write a script for all of that and whatnot. That's how it's going to go for this. So some will be live streamed, others will not. And the games that won't be live streamed will be games that I've either played on the channel, like Ocarina of Time, or games that I don't think would make for good streaming content. And I don't have any examples for that right now, but you know what I mean. I hope the first nostalgia video can come out sometime this January or February. I'm not going to hold myself to a certain number of them this year, but these will count towards the 12 scripted videos that I want to do. And if Taste of Nostalgia can make up 6 of them, I will be happy. Like, if I had to hold myself to something, I'd think holding myself to 6 of these and post one like every other month would be doable. But I'm not going to hold myself to that. It's just going to be whenever I can. But I'm not going to clarify when a game on the channel is going to be made for a scripted video in general or for a Taste of Nostalgia video or what. If it's on the channel, it might be part of a scripted video. It might not be. It might be for a stream summary video like what we're doing for Crimson Flower. And it might just be a one-off thing, like where we play it on the stream and I just don't make a video of it, like some of my Splatoon videos, or Splatoon streams, I should say, this year. So if you guys have any games that are nostalgic to you or games from your childhood that you want to see covered in this way, let me know down below. Again, I read all comments and I'm always open to suggestions. But if you're new here, which most of you are here after I stopped doing the nostalgia videos, if you want an example of what they are and what kind of they look like, I've done 4 of them. I did one on The Sims 3, I did one on Jak and Daxter, I did one on Donkey Kong 64, and Pokémon Silver. And I'll put a link to them in the description of this video also. I'm really proud of those videos. And the Sims 3 one is actually one of my highest performing videos on the channel. It's not the highest, but it's up there. It did really well, and it was such a funny playthrough. I had a blast with all 4 of these games. That's all I'm going to say on the Taste of Nostalgia videos for 2025. Just that they're coming, and this is all what I'm planning for them. But there is more information to come. I just don't want to give everything away just in case I end up changing my mind on something with them, on how I want to do this. But yeah. And again, just remember that just because a game is being live streamed on this channel doesn't mean it's getting a scripted video made about it or a summary video made about it. Because I want to try to do just more casual stream playthroughs. You know what I mean? But that's everything I've got, guys. Thank you for a very special 2024. I appreciate every single one of you who tuned into my videos or live streams, whether it was a little bit or a lot. Your guys' support and those of you who are involved with the channel really makes it easy for me to do this, despite fighting the algorithm and always wondering why I'm not good enough. Sometimes, you know, you have that. It's hard not to have that feeling when you put your work out there and it just doesn't get received the way you hoped. But you guys who engage with it really make this worthwhile, and I really appreciate you all. So that's all I've got for this. Yeah, so I'm gonna throw in some of my favorite clips from this year, and I really want to know your guys' thoughts down below on all of this. And yeah, we'll see you all on the channel for the next one, whatever the next video might be. I hope you all stick around. It's great having you all here. Let me know your thoughts on everything, and I will talk to you all later. So enjoy the montage, guys, and I will see you all later. Bye for now, everybody.
Hi-ya! Hi-ya!
Oh my god, why don't you double jump?
Yeah! Yeah!
I just got swatted so hard by that game. What? What? Huh? How did he die? He didn't hit anything. What?
Hi-ya! Yeah!
Okay. Sure, game. That's a new one. Holy shit! Run! He's just waving. I'm like, run! Run! The monkeys are out! Run! They're all coming! Starts beating the shit out of Jake. Like, he forgot that he wasn't brainwashed anymore. It's like, guys, get away! Jake's evil!
Hi-ya!
I love it when they do that. He's like, look, man, just chill. Take it easy with that net, man, okay? We're all cool. We're cool. And his friends in the background just like, God, it's cold outside. I wish something would happen around here.
You've got the gadgets, now go use them. Time is running out. We're counting on you.
Wait a minute, what are you doing?
God, what I wouldn't give to see the professor just whip out a 9mm. Like, all right, you fucking monkeys, I've had enough of your shit. Just start shooting at him. Like, Spike, hurry up and get your ass over to Spectre. He's at the TV tower. Get his ass. Just start shooting more monkeys. Spike runs into the lab when he arrives and he's like, holy shit, how'd all the blood get here? Monkey carcasses everywhere. Professor's last stand. Oh, speaking of flying saucers. Bogus gemstone seller, but you really think Red could start the apocalypse? Bro, are you really asking that question? Isn't that a bit crazy? You're free to think that way. Surely you've seen enough to arrive at the same conclusion as me. We've literally seen her create a whole cat paradise and take control of everybody and manipulate people into acting psychotic. And you're seriously doubting that she could cause the apocalypse? My guy, look out a window. So I can watch a movie with, snuggled up in the dark room eating candy. That's the whole point of high school. It's the dream, the ideal teen date. My heart is throbbing. Mine too. Let's do it, huh? Let's watch a movie together. Me and with the rest of the club? No, dummy, do I really need to say it? I'm asking you out. Movie date, just the two of us. What? You're just gonna leave her on red light? I have to know how this story ends. So do you like movies? They're okay, I guess. It's you I really like. Hey! Hey! Good for you two. Wait, come on. They just look at each other. What? Fucking Knuckles. Oh, I've seen this before. This is where they start jerking off. The only way to defeat the Bio Lizard, Sonic, is to jerk it. Yeah. Yeah. The true power.
Shadow, I beg of you.
Maria.
Give them a chance to be happy.
You're right, Maria. The Bio Lizard does deserve a chance to be happy.
Chaos control.
Wait, aren't all our friends on board? Oh. I guess we don't have friends anymore. Oh, goodbye, Shadow. But my school bully is a super successful man with lots of power now. No matter how hard I train, the punches will never reach the ones at the top. So what's the point of training at all? Oh. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh, what? This logo, I don't... Oh, whoops, I accidentally solved it. I swear I didn't do that on purpose. Sonic? You, you... You okay there? What the fuck? Oh my god, okay, there she is.
Sorry to keep you waiting. To make a long story short, I'd like you to join student council.
Fuck. Okay. Just out for a stroll. Oh. He's dead. Think so, yeah. Anyways, where was I? Here we go. Showtime. God, look at her. Majestic. Whoa, hold the phone. What the hell am I looking at? But anyway, as I was saying, I wish one thing that this game did was let you play as any character you've unlocked so far if you go back to a previous level. So,
You know how to drive, right?
I'm sorry, what'd you say? What'd you say, bitch? No, say it again. Say it again.
Superintendent
Say it again.
Sidewalk.
I asked you a question, man. What'd you say?
I'll teach you to fence.
Principal Skinner.
What a hapless night, is it not? Well then, shall we begin?
Nice, and we can't control him. I like that. I like him acting on his own. It makes more sense.
What to do?
King Frog.
So that's your strategy.
Oh, he's absolutely sizing us up.
Can you dodge this?
Okay, he's not going to let us see his persona. Yeah, he is absolutely sizing us up. Not letting us see his persona while analyzing what we do. two can play at this game, you son of a bitch.
I'm impressed. It's tougher than it looks.
Something tells me this is scripted.
This too is fate.
0. I love that.
That was quite the spectacle.
I'm guarding.
But it's time to end this.
Oh.
You make a good target. As a reward for your efforts, let me show you my power.
I literally just guarded. I debuffed his defense and guarded.
Come, Persona!
How about this?
What the fuck?
The finale was surprisingly unsatisfying, wasn't it?
I don't know about that, but I guess we're here for two different things. He's still guarding.
Good morning. This is Elizabeth. I am calling to inform you that more humans have wandered into Tartarus. One this time, I believe. Please swiftly and safely conduct a search and rescue. Goodbye now.
I hate this.
Persona!
This too is fate.
Bitch? What the fuck was that? Who the fuck are you? Fuka Yamagishi. Welcome to the friend zone. Solar beam, okay. Maya lives that. Arcanine's a physical attacker. Yeah, that didn't do shit. Oh, that did half. Oh, Maya, you have to survive this wild charge. Lefties? Yep. That's not saving you. Solar beam again? Do you not have wild charge? That's a dead Arcan. What? Oh, I got a high roll. Oh, no. That's death. What? Oh, Maya clutches. Maya clutches the heat wave. Down goes Arcanine. Oh, it's down to 1. What is it? Cast form. Maya, this is a one-way trip. Maya 100% outspeeds this. Unless they boosted it also. Nice job, Neptune. Starmie, I swear. Starmie, I swear. Why would you Thunderbolt the Metagross? There's a Charizard right there. What are you doing? You made an even worse move than I was afraid you were going to. You are such an asshole, Steven. His attack and agility are down, so this is probably fine. Oh. Okay.